And let's get the theme going.
Let's go.
I love it. That's got to be the best ever. Every radio show is going to want that. Produced professionally. It's 44 seconds. We're playing the whole thing. Woo! And we're off, ladies and gentlemen. Total Vocal, Deke Sharon. We have launched the school community. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for helping me make all of this happen. And I'd love to talk about so many things, talk about why this exists, talk about what that music was that we just heard, and tell stories and answer questions and everything. Thank you, everybody, for coming. It is a pleasure to have this new platform, to have this new place where we
Yeah.
can share ideas and bring the community together.
Speaking of community, we have the chat. If you have joined through the school community, obviously you have the link. You put your email and your name and last name so that we know who you are. And so we have DC 11961 who said hello, hello. What a theme, I know, right? Isn't that amazing? So Mark, how you doing? Why can't I get in? I don't know, Mark, but as soon as you get in, we're gonna let you in. David Kelly. If you have any questions, you can also send me a little message. You can chat directly with me in the school community if you've joined. Hey, David from York. If you are from somewhere, please let us know where that is, and
Yep.
make sure that you give us a thumbs up and a one if everything is okay. You can hear everybody. Deke, can we give us an audio test on your? That was your electric guitar right there. Oh, we got a
That
thumbs up
was
right there.
that was 100%. That was me, all me. And I
All
want
right.
to talk a little bit about what that is and how it's also, in fact, a gift. Hey, Danny from Boston. I
Hey,
have many
Danny.
fond memories of Boston for college. So, but let me just dive in and just start talking. Any questions, just toss them into the chat. But first, since this is our first ever live webcast, I thought I would explain a little bit why we're doing this, why Total Vocal, what's the whole point. So, rolling all the way back to my high school years, I was an enormous fan of acapella. I absolutely adored it. And I would go to record stores, used record stores, Tower Records. I would hunt through all the stacks. I would do everything I could to try to find any acapella recordings. And the only real sense of community that I knew about was this new competition called the Harmony Sweepstakes. It was happening in Northern California, just across the Golden Gate Bridge up in Marin County. And it was a very casual event. It was just a local thing. It grew out of a pub and a chorus that was there in the Mayflower pub and the Mayflower chorus. And so they had this like little fun outdoor amphitheater singing competition once a year. So some of the members would get together and sing a song or two. Of course, now the Harmony Sweepstakes, just having celebrated 40 years, became the gold standard for so many professional groups that got launched. But the reason I'm mentioning this is there really wasn't a sense of a cappella community. And if you've seen the Pitch Perfect movies, the character of Benji, the really nerdy guy, is based on me. I was that nerdy guy collecting a cappella in high school and did not get in the Beelzebubs until my third audition because I was overzealous. So
Wow,
just letting
imagine
you
that.
know, it's all true. Yours truly. And then upon graduating, in fact, before I graduated, I started the Contemporary Acapella News. I wanted to send out a newsletter and bring together the collegiate acapella world. And enough fans and pro groups contacted me and said, hey, would you expand that out so that it would include us? So I changed the Collegiate Acapella News to the Contemporary Acapella News because it was just college groups initially.
Right.
And then when I graduated, moved back to San Francisco, started the Contemporary Acapella Society of America. And for a little while, the way in which people got in touch with each other was through the annual list of all the groups and their addresses and everything that I printed in the can, as well as letters to the editor and little, classified ads in the back of this printed newsletter that I stapled on my knees in my dorm room and then in my first apartment. Um, And then something happened. The internet went past just, DARPA sending emails back and forth from military installations, and became something that people were able to use to communicate. And there were news groups, Usenet news groups. The first for acapella was alt.music.acapella, and then
Wow, I
eventually
remember
we got
those.
upgraded to Rec Music Acapella, and that was the place where people could post little bulletin board posts and just basically say, I live in Tulsa and I want to do this new kind of acapella, or, I'm a member of Sweet Adelines. I'm a member of the Barbershop Acapella World, and I want to find a doo-wop arrangement. Do you guys know how I can get a Boys to Men thing? Anything like that. Just bringing people together, and helping college acapella groups and new young professional groups get going. So the alt music acapella turned into the rec music acapella, and then for a little while it got bifurcated, and there was an AOL group. Remember AOL? And all the like
Yeah,
dial up through
of
AOL
course.
and
You started your
like all
own
the
school
codes.
before everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we were doing. We were just trying to connect people. We were just trying to get together. And then for a while, the location of choice was the forum for the Recorded Acapella Review Board, RARB.
Wow.
The RARB forum was the gold standard that everybody went and had long discussions, and, how do we make this sound better? And what's the best way to record that? And how can I get a tour going? And all of these kind of conversations. It was a really big deal. Um, and RARB was the place where we brought down a cult. That's right.
No
Nexium
kidding.
and Keith Raniere, he's in prison, as are others.
Oh,
And
wow.
it happened online. That's a whole different discussion we can get into another time, but it is true. And if you've seen the Lifetime movies and read online about Nexium, they did before going full like clandestine sex cult. They tried to approach the acapella world, start a festival, and use it as a recruiting tool, and a
Wow,
couple of us
that's
stood
crazy.
up and said, "You shall not pass." If my nerdiness has not already been
No kidding.
large enough, yes. And then, of course, Facebook happened, and people could have all kinds of conversations on Facebook,
Right.
and so there was really a golden age of conversation about all things. And still, Acapella Now, the Facebook group exists, as do many others and regional ones. The challenge is that a lot of people are not going on Facebook now, and a lot of people that are going on there aren't posting, particularly younger people. So I still see occasional discussions, but I'd say they're like once every 2 months someone might bring something up. For the
Mm,
most part, it's like, where can I find this, or what's going on with that. But
yeah.
there's not really a sense of discussion and a sense of community. And there are some things that you can answer in one sentence or one short paragraph, and there are other discussions that take a half an hour, they take an hour. These are the
Right. You need
conversations
to
that
have a
happen
conversation.
backstage. Yes. So the whole point of this school, the whole reason that we created Total Vocal, is we wanted to create a community, one that anybody could be a part of, one that didn't require any cost or charge. You can have a little app on your phone, and this is where you can go to ask questions about your rehearsals, about your arrangements, about your style, about how do you
I
tour,
love it.
and build a sense of connection. Because something used to happen also is people would make friends. People in Croatia and Australia would become friends with each other and then set up tours and conversations. And that really doesn't seem to be happening the way that it used to. So that's the hope for this place. And I will be showing up all the time, having conversations, answering questions. And I travel a lot. In fact, I'll be in China next week, in a number of different cities, and going to festivals and interviewing groups or whatever. And wherever I go, I was just in Croatia, I'm going to be taking video footage. I'm going to be asking questions of people, and then taking and putting that information up online so that we together can start pushing out more knowledge about what's going on right now post COVID in acapella, and bringing more people together. So that's what Total Vocal is. That's the dream. We need a new platform, and the hope is that this one will be it.
I think
That's
it's amazing, Deke. I think that your timing is impeccable. It's needed. All of the platforms are all over the place. Everything is scattered, and the world needs a central place to be able to talk about a cappella. And who better than a cappella? You know, the godfather of acapella to be able to lead us into this community. And we have the community actually up on the share right now. If you can see, so we have the community where people are going to be. Well, right now we have the live up here, and then we have the posts where people can come in and do their own posts. So this is where you write something, and then you basically have your title of the post, just like a Facebook post, and then you put something in. You can attach something, or you can add a link. You can add a YouTube video if you want to share a performance of a group that you've had. If you want to add a poll, I'm not sure who can add a poll, but I'm pretty sure that you can definitely add GIF. And then we have select a category. Did I say that in Canadian, GIF? Actually, you're Canadian too, so what am I saying? So we have general discussions. We have looking for a singer or group, so obviously Deke is going to talk about that. We have show promo, so if you have a show promo, like we have the Boston Acapella Festival from Seth Maislin. He posted about his 2026 Boston Acapella Festival, and he put that in the show promo category. Educators and directors, which is something that Deke is going to talk about very soon. There's a project coming up. Who were just interviewed with Deke, and so that one went well. And then we have the performance share, where if you have something that you have a group that you want to perform, you want to share something, you can upload the file or you can share a YouTube link. So those are where the community operates. Then we have the classroom, which is not really a classroom; it's a category of different events. And so we have the Be Kind project that we can discuss a bit later, but feel free to browse around there. We already have a section loaded with acapella warm-ups. So you have the video guide, and then you have a warm-up list down here. You also have the arrangements that Deke has generously shared here. So there's a few down here that I'm figuring you can play with. They're all in PDF. If you need any assistance about anything like that, post your questions in the group, please. We're going to have a one-on-one with Deke where we have interviews that exist already, but we're also going to be offering sessions for folks to be able to get some support. So we have the Steve and Renee Tremack interview from Harmony Northeast. And then we have an interview with Annabelle Yee, a student who from, I'm remembering it from Berkeley. Do you
Berkeley
remember
College of
Deke,
Music?
Berkeley.
Yeah.
And so she interviewed Deke actually, so that was a bit of a reverse. And we have 2 more interviews that are being posted as we speak on YouTube with 2 other folks. One starting a group, and the other one is also an arranger and a performer. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then we have the calendar where all the events are going to be set up, a members list. We have the map where everybody is. So I posted that. You can see if you want to see, for instance, what's going on. Obviously, we can see that because of the event, we have some folks, have a bunch of folks in the tri-state area. Providence, Rhode Island is loaded. Boston's got 9 people. And then you can click on a person, see their profile, and be able to so hey, Mr. Darren Drown, magnificent barbershopper, educator who's got a quartet, barbershop quartet, Stormfront, international champion from VHS, and the magnificent trumpet player, comedy quartet. And so if you want to, in your settings, you can decide if you want to deactivate the chat or not. But normally, if you're going to be chatting with people, please obviously be kind and respectful about it. So we have a leaderboard because the more active you are, the more points you get. And then every time you get more points, you get more rankings, and obviously the more ranking you get, more free stuff and more access to special stuff. And so we're going to try to keep this community as interesting and useful as possible, but obviously you are going to be the group that is going to steer how it's going. So that was my tour, and hopefully less than too long for the community. If you have any questions, put them in either in the QA or in the chat. Yeah, Dee, over to you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Denny. I really appreciate you going through everything with everybody. Okay, so part of being here and signing up in this nice little group for free, I wanted to like put some incentives in there. So you already saw there are two different groups there. One of them is a list of arrangements, and there's about 150 arrangements in there, and they're all free, and they're free for you to do whatever you would like with them. They are all public domain songs, and they're all original songs that I've written. I'd love to be able to give more songs, but copyright law disallows me from taking things that are not either in the public domain or original, but still 150 songs. And so there are some national anthems woven in there, some holiday tunes, and maybe a couple originals you've heard, some arrangements I've done for Straight No Chaser, for instance. You'll find something you like in there. And they're all PDFs, but if you'd like an XML or a Finale file of any of them, just ask. I'm happy to send it to you. And then you can take the arrangement and change it any way you want, change the voicing, change notes, change whatever. I do not care. I just want to make it easier for you to make music. So that's one of those two folders. The other folder of warm-ups is from a book that I wrote with JD Frizzell, fantastic educator and doctorate in music. And it's a book of warm-ups. And these are all in the public domain as well because I wrote them. And different warm-ups have different purposes. This one focuses more on rhythm. This one is more about blend. And when you buy the book, you have access to PDFs of them all, but people don't have access to the XMLs. So I ended up uploading those XMLs so people can take them and alter them. I think one of the biggest issues with warm-ups is that people do the same warm-ups over and over and over again, and they go into autopilot, which is the worst way to start a rehearsal. People just kind of zone out, and then they disconnect their presence, their conscious mind, from their voice, and that's just the worst behavior you can possibly have, and the worst one you can reinforce. So it gives you an opportunity to play with a lot of these different warm-ups. And now, very soon, there are going to be two more big folders of free stuff. And what's folder number one? It's sound beds. And what do I mean by sound beds? Well, let me tell you a little story. I got hired to be on the sing-off, work on the music team, and by the end of the first season, they made me a producer. But going right into that first season, they didn't even know what they didn't know. And one thing they didn't know is they needed sound beds. They needed music underneath the little packages where they introduced groups. And they talked about them. And they needed music underneath, like when they're deliberating. They needed music when the judges are kind of deciding who's going to stay and who's going to go. And they didn't have anything like that. And I got a phone call, and I had literally 90 minutes. I had 90 minutes to record as much as I could before I had to get on a plane and fly down there. So I was with one of the other guys in House Jacks at the time, Rupak Ahuja, phenomenal individual, and the man who recorded the House Jacks album Level, which is, I think, one of the best that we recorded. And this whole list of songs that I'm going to be uploading for you all are the result of all of that. So you'll hear the tension bed from the sing-off. If you saw the show back in the day, you hear it and you'll immediately go, oh boy, that's the music. That's the music they played whenever they were going to have an elimination. But also there are lots of other little songs in there. A couple of them are named after producers on the show, Eric and Josh and Clyde, but some of them are like little fun, playful things. The one that I use for my Too Many Notes series, the ba-da-ba-ba-da, was a little longer than that, and I created that little ditty for Nota when they had a little sound bed because they were from Puerto Rico and gave it a little bit of like an island flavor. And there are other ones that are like just a drone, or there's one that's called Maliboom, which is like Malibu because it was a group, the SoCals, which came from SoCal Vocals. Yeah, go ahead and play. Why don't you play Maliboom? Just to give people a little
I got
flavor.
Maliboom drum, horns, Maliboom bed.
Play the full. You want the bed, the full bed. The other ones, those by the way, are called stems. If you want just the drums, just the horns, just the bass, then you can use those as well.
Let's upload that Malibu.
Yeah, let's see what that sounds like. And this is royalty-free music. So it's like that. It's just cute music like that, and they would have like little packages say like the SoCals are from the University of
Very
Southern
cool.
California and blah 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 blah. So and you can see a couple of
Right.
them. One's called Ward, which is a little bit of a play on Ward Swingle, like a Swingle Singersy kind of thing. Another one's called Wolfie, which is a little bit like Mozart, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. You see where this is going. Anyway, these sound beds and the stems, the broken up parts of them, you're welcome to use if you need a little bit of music underneath a video you're putting together, some kind of a compilation, build things on top of it, whatever you like. They are my gift to all of you to be used. And, it's nice if you want to credit me, if there's any reason to credit me, but if there's not, then there's not, and that's okay too. So that is one of the two things that is going up. And I think you'll find some fun stuff in there. And then the other one is I was going through my arrangements and uploading another 60 something to arrangeme.com, and it came across this little file that said Caroling Party 2001. And I remembered, right, back when my kids were really, really young, I used to have really fun caroling parties, ugly sweaters and decorate cookies. And of course, people wanted to sing. But here's the problem. Everybody comes to a me caroling party expects to be singing in harmony. However, at that point, I was done working really hard and I didn't want to be doing all kinds of heavy lifting and teaching 4-part arrangements before we went around the neighborhood. So what I did is I created a few different 2- and 3-part arrangements that people didn't really need to work hard to learn. Maybe we sang through them once before we went out or whatever, but they're short and sweet and simple. So anybody who just wants to sing the melody, just sings the melody. And then the people want to sing a harmony part. Maybe it's kind of like a bass part or a parallel vocal part, whatever. They've got that as well. And all of these songs are also my gift to you. So feel free to use them at a holiday party if you would like. There's some fun little ditties in there. And I included both the PDF and the XML file, so you can change it if you want, and the finale file, because I think I put finale, maybe I didn't. Rest in peace, finale. I'm still using it until it dies.
So we have them on screen here. So we have the
Yeah, great.
PDFs, we have
Yep.
the dot music XMLs, and the dot and files. So.
Yeah, great. So anyway, those are both my gifts to everyone in the community. I know I give things away, and some people would think, why are you giving all this stuff away? But I give away things because I want to make people's lives
how come you
easier.
do that? Like you're just literally giving all of this music away. Like isn't that what you're like bread and butter?
Believe me, if I wanted to make a lot of money in this world, I would have gone and done that. But I didn't. What I wanted to do was spread harmony through harmony and get more people singing and make people's lives easier. And because of copyright law, there's a lot of stuff that I can't just give away. But I literally have done thousands and thousands of arrangements. I stopped counting. And so here's a whole bunch of them that I can legally give away. So
I think it's super
enjoy.
generous of you. Thank you very much.
That's my pleasure.
We all
It's my
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
It's my pleasure. So I see there's some good questions here, and I'd love to answer them. And then, Denny, I remember you had a question for me as well. But
Yes.
let's start. And I see David Kelly, you asked a question. If you're forming a group or trying to keep a group going, how do you get people to walk through the door? That is a great question. It's a great question because, lots of people want to sing. Lots of people are out there. Maybe they sang in high school, they sang in college. Maybe they're empty nesters now and they had, their kids are old enough or they're grown and they're out. But you got to reach them. And particularly now post-COVID, people spend so much time sitting at home just staring at the screen. So how do you get out there and reach them? Well, the first thing I'd say is nowadays there's this new thing that has blown up, and it's the one-day choir. I highly recommend, if you can, pick a song that's going to be somewhat representative of what it is you want your group to do, and at the same time, something that people would know, something that you think your core demographic is going to be interested in. It could be a really recent song if you're looking for young people, or maybe more of a classic that everybody loves singing, Motown, whatever. And just put together a 2-hour event and invite people to come and just say, you can make it free. You could have a small charge if you want to have people come. But one-day choirs are absolutely blowing up. Young people today don't want to belong to organizations. They don't want to pay membership dues. They like to pay for things and get the thing that they're paying for. a la carte, as it were. And I have seen that be a really effective way to bring a lot of people together. And if you think this is just a new thing, um, the way the persuasions got started is a whole bunch of them were out playing basketball and having fun. And I think Jerry or one of the guys said, maybe Jimmy Hayes said, "Hey, let's and you guys are all singing. You want to get together? Let's start a singing group. Yeah, let's all get together. Let's all let's just get together for one day and see how it goes." And turns out only five people showed up, and those five people were the five persuasions. That was it. It was just like that.
That's
So
crazy.
I am bestowing upon you, David, the the energy of the legendary persuasions in creating your wonderful group, and hoping that by putting word out there and saying, "Hey, let's just get together and sing once and learn a song and have a good time," that you will have the right people walk through the door. Obviously, when it comes to spreading word nowadays, do everything you can to put things on Facebook, on all of your social media sites. If there are local arts papers, community papers, and you can put little classified ads in them or anything like that, put that out there. Sometimes there are bulletin boards. You can pin things up in a local cafe since your group is going to be local. Um, and also sometimes there are like radio stations that have announcements for things in the community, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Anything that you can do, I would go and look everywhere and anywhere that you can around your community and make it very community focused, and try to just get word out so that people in the area will end up knowing about it. And my fingers are crossed. And if it doesn't happen that first time, come back to me next time I'm up here, and we'll talk. Okay, what happened? How many people came? What worked? What didn't work? And we'll make this happen. That's why this exists. This isn't a Facebook post. This isn't a one sentence answer. This is a place where we keep returning and we keep working until we get that solution. Until the group that wants to go on tour goes on tour. Until the person who wants to start that group starts the group, et cetera, et cetera. You
Yeah.
see my passion.
Yeah, I think it's very. I mean, it's essential, right, to have the excitement. Dave has actually followed up with, his group has been around for 81 years,
Yeah.
and so I feel maybe is that David. I'd be interested to hear if that's a barbershop group or something like that. Where, yeah, that's definitely a challenge for all of the groups, right, to keep it going.
Yeah. And I
Good
know a
luck to you,
lot of
man.
the barbershop groups that are out there have struggled, and I know the like free voice lessons or free assessment, all that kind of stuff worked more in the past, but not as much in the present. I studied a lot about this when right before I left the Contemporary Acapella Society of America. I was on the board 25 years, and I really wanted to create a network of pop choirs. The Contemporary Acapella League is out there. It's not nearly as big as I'd hoped it would be. But one of the things that I really identified was that a singing group that has a lot of young people in it is one that people who are older will feel comfortable joining and join. But a singing group, once it gets a certain critical age, once there are mostly people who are above a certain age limit, younger people are less likely to join that group because it doesn't feel like it's them or it's their generation or whatever. That is a fundamental issue, and I think also within the nature of what's going on within barbershop, which has had an enormous revitalization, and the Everyone in Harmony and the events I've been to,
Hmm.
post COVID have been fantastic, including Midwinter earlier this year and the New England Barbershop, University. Great, great, great stuff. Great energy and GQ winning. I mean, all of this stuff bodes
Wasn't that
very well for
amazing?
the future. Yeah, unbelievable. Good friends, beautiful people. Um,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
but the
What a
catch is,
talented group of folks.
I think what we need to do is find a way to make sure that young people recognize, and I've been pushing this out in social media a lot too, that they recognize that barbershop is a way of singing. It's not a repertoire choice. And there are people who are singing, I mean, the Mothers and Daughters that GQ sang. That's a song from what, 2, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
So this is all good messaging that's getting out into the public.
Yeah.
But I'm
Barbershop
here
doesn't
with
mean
you,
COVID.
David, and we're going to keep finding and figuring out new ways to get people interested and and I know that the youth events like the Harmony Explosion that I do back in the Jersey Harmony Explosion works great for getting a lot of young people engaged while they're in school. But then, of course, converting them and getting them into a chorus is the challenging piece of it all. I think also the nature of modern society is, you know, setting aside people not wanting to be members and join things. When someone graduates university, right, college, whatever, or even if they graduate high school and they're going to work, a lot of people move around a lot. So they're not going to live in the same town. They're moving from this town to that town. They got a different job over here. They got a promotion. They're in a different part of town even. That coupled with the number of hours that they have free to work, for a lot of them, they're exhausted, and it's hard for them to realize that joining a choir will actually revitalize them as opposed to take up their time. It will be so much more healthy for them and bring joy into their life and make them feel they'll sleep like a baby and they'll have a built-in group of friends and all of this. So we're going to work on this together. This is going to happen, David. But I am curious, if your chorus does a one-day choir and people in your chorus, you know, the director and you know, everybody brings their kids and they bring their spouses and their cousins and whatever, and it's not like here's the chorus that you need to join, but rather here's just a fun opportunity to get together and sing a song, perhaps one that's more youthful, and see if that ends up bringing some people in the door that you would not otherwise have met, and then we'll figure out how to convert them. So hopefully that's useful. Excellent. Very glad to hear that.
Oh, that's amazing. We have Kathleen Cogcroft who said, I'm messaging our committee about one-day choir events right now, and I think she's pretty excited about the idea. And David said the same thing,
that's
that
great.
they're going to try to put that on their social media. We had
That's great. And one quick thing about one-day choirs, I don't know if you realize how big a thing it is right now, but Matt Goldstein, who graduated, you know, I maybe a decade ago from university or whatever, has been doing one-day choirs in the East Coast.
Yeah.
Denny, any guess how many people he has following him on social media?
Oh, it's tens of thousands. It's got to be crazy.
It's 100,000 plus people.
Oh my gosh! Imagine.
That's how big one-day choirs are, and he's in the New York area, but now he's got so many people following him, and he's a lovely soul. And when he creates these events, it's not just like here are the notes, whatever, but it's this beautiful sense of connection. And James Rose is doing this in England, and he has tens of thousands of people following him. I mean, the people who are doing this and doing it right are reaching so many people. And then another thing you can think about for David, you said who? It's Matt Goldstein. You can go online, or you can just go online, look on Instagram or whatever, type in one-day choir, and a bunch of people will start popping up. I think you will see there's really great momentum there. And Robert Lee, who's here in the San Francisco Bay Area, puts on very big one-day choir events. And then he does something that's really cool. He'll rent an Airbnb, and people who want like a really specific experience, they'll get together for the weekend and learn a few songs, you know, Friday afternoon through Sunday evening, and basically form a group, but just for the weekend, and cook together and laugh, and I don't know, have a bonfire outside, or what, you know, all of it. So that gives them that kind of small group experience, 10 people or whatnot. It's really, really great, new, interesting ways. And the last thing that I'll plant out there in this idea is a lot of choirs, a lot of choral organizations, a lot of singing organizations, they recognize that people are very busy, and instead of saying, okay, you're in the choir, you have to be a part of the choir always and come to all rehearsals and all concerts and everything is you all the time, they really break the year up into 3 different seasons, right? So the summers are often off, and then there's a fall season, a winter season, a spring season, right? One of them is holiday music, and one of them might be jazz, or one of them might be the classics or whatever. And I know, for instance, the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus works its way. There are whatever, 250, 325 people or whatever, but they're not always singing all the time. And so if you're going to have a baby, if you've got a big legal case coming up, if you're traveling a bunch, if something happened in your family, whatever it is, you can just, you opt in for, I can do these 3 months. And then at some point it comes around, okay, who's going to do the spring? Okay, it's us. Okay, who's going to, and that creates a flexibility for people and a freedom that makes them feel much more comfortable saying, okay, I want to be a part of this organization. I want to do this, but I also know that I have the freedom to not necessarily have to do it all the time. I recognize that's a
Mm-hmm.
different model than has been the
Mm.
case within the barbershop world, but it is also one that allows for really big numbers and uh, a larger batch of people from whom smaller groups can be a
Yeah,
part.
and
And
it's not
yeah,
either or, you know, it's
no, it's not
one
either
feeds
or.
the other type of them, you know, so you're able
Mm,
to, it's a great concept. Yeah, it's a great idea, great suggestion. Do you have any
I think
tips of
it's
how to, what would be this, like the starting point? What would be the next step if somebody says, hey, I want to start one of those, like, what would you be your next step?
for a one day choir.
Yeah.
Well, I'd first of all identify who you think the music director is going to be, and really make sure that they recognize that this is not an event about perfection. It's about connection, right? And you're going to hear me say that all the time.
Right.
It's not about perfection. It's about connection. Make it a fun event. Pick a fun song that people will like. It could be, you know, Dancing Queen, something like old and classic that everybody loves because everybody knows ABBA and everybody knows Mamma Mia and whatever. Or it could be
Right.
something much more recent. You want to pick an Adele tune, you want to pick a Bruno Mars tune, something that you've got. Try to keep it four parts. And if you can, make it a song that doesn't have a separate solo part. Because when people join, when people are a part of this, they really want to sing the lead. And in the ideal arrangement, the melody hops around. And there are also parts that are kind of homophonic, of course, which is why barbershop is actually ideally suited for this kind of an event. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of Matt Goldstein, the guy I mentioned before in New York, who has over 100,000 followers, a lot of the arrangements that he does are very homophonic. They're very they're pop songs, but they're kind of choral because then everybody gets to sing the words and the rhythms together, which is
Yeah.
what they want. But then it's in harmony rather than sing bum 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 do 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 or near
Yeah.
near near or guitars and trumpets and whatever, which is super fun as well. But when people show up for one day choir, they often want to sing the words. So find that right song, make sure that your director is dialed in. And then if you can get a place that's free or really inexpensive, then your costs are almost nothing.
Yeah.
And of course, uh, blast out information across the media as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, for free. It's social media will pick you up now. It's interest media, right? So as long as you're pushing out material consistently, the
Yep.
algorithm is going to pick you
And
up.
and people will pay $20 for this. They'll pay $35 for this.
Oh,
Like you don't
absolutely.
have to make it free. You might actually do two of them and see if the one where you charge gets more people than the one where it's free because people value things that have a cost attached to them. So
Yeah,
that's an
yeah,
interesting A/B experiment to do as well.
yeah. There were different formats where you had. He actually has the format where it's 15 if you need help, 25 if you're just a regular participant, and 40 if you
Yeah.
want to pay for somebody else. And there's also, if you just can't afford it, just come, and then somebody else will pay for you. I mean, it averages out really well at the end, right? But it's the
Yeah.
exposure, right? Even if you invested $100 in the entire event, it would still be
Yeah.
ridiculously economical marketing, right?
Unbelievably. And I see David scrolling back in your message doing a one day chorus with the holidays, holiday music. Okay, here's the thing. Every a cappella group you've ever known, their best selling album is their holiday album. There's no question. And these things are evergreen. They're constantly out there. And you look at Pentatonics and Straight No Chaser and Take Six and all these groups, they're on the road throughout December because that's when everybody wants vocal harmony. Plus, every high school chorus, middle school chorus, college group, young professionals, everyone works in December and often makes the majority of their annual income in that month, or let's say
Mm-hmm.
from American Thanksgiving, the end of November up through the 23rd, 24th of December, plus all the pop-up caroling groups that happen or whatever. So doing a holiday one day choir, doing a few of them, really smart way to get a lot of people engaged in your community. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Primo.
Yeah, definitely a great way to recruit, especially if you have easier songs for the people that are joining or they're just visiting your group for a few weeks. That was yeah, really good stuff. And then we had.
Absolutely.
Did you want to talk some more about the 1 day course, or did you want to move on to another question?
Well, Denis, you had a question that I thought was very timely and that I should address. A lot of you right now are going to be going back to school. You've got, you're going literally, you're going back to work with your middle school students, your high school students, you're in a college group, and you're going to be getting back together with your buddies and singing and rehearsing whatever. Or maybe you've got a group that took the summer off and it's a community choir, it's a barbershop group, whatever it is. You took this time off. August was off. The summer might have been off. And now you're getting back together. And you're probably a little bit like, oh, how do we get back into it? How do we build the momentum? How do we get the flywheel turning with all those good juices? So I have a few tips for you, a few little pointers, and of course, please pitch in, share any other ones you have as well. But the first thing I'd say is you want to make sure that first rehearsal really gives people an opportunity to connect. So rather than being super crazy stringent on the time, start a little bit late with it. Tell everybody to be there on time, but you're going to see a lot of energy, a lot of catching up, a lot of hugs, a lot of people catching up and talking about what they just did or whatever. Let them have that time. That might feel like wasted time, but it is not wasted time. Also, if you take a break in the middle of your rehearsal, make it a little bit longer. Bring some better snacks, and tea and cookies and crumpets and wherever you are in the world, whatever it is you have. You're in Singapore, bring roti and a nice curry sauce. Get give people an opportunity to sit and really talk and connect during that time. And you might also decide to set up, hey, after this first rehearsal, we're going to go retire to a local pub. We're going to end up going out to this restaurant, Applebee's, whatever, and sit around and continue conversations and catch up. So that first rehearsal has a central, uh, you know, connecting component to it. It's social because that's one of the main reasons that people belong to a chorus. This gives them a home away from home. This gives them another family, and then those good vibes will really, get people excited. The next thing I'd say is spend some time introducing the music that you're going to be working on. If you can send it out to people in advance, that's great. But then also, I think in the rehearsal, if you've got a video screen, show a little video of the music, or, and this could be classical as well. Like we're going to do Britain War Requiem. I don't know. We're going to do Brahms. Like play a little bit of it and talk about like, why are we doing this? Why do I love it? Let your passion come through. Directors, remember, when you are in rehearsal, you are performing. Do not think that you should just walk in there with whatever mood you have. No, people are going into that room and you are setting the tone for that room. So even if you're tired, even if you're confused, even if you don't know what you're going to say next, you bring that energy. You have to. That's the only way to make this happen. So get in there, get up in front of people and let them know how excited you are about the music that you're going to be working on and explain why. They say the key to great art is specifics, the specificity, be it in acting, be it in writing a novel, or whatever. So get in there and talk about like why you love this, why this is right for this group, why this is what you're going to be putting your time into, and get people excited about that music. Um, and then I really think that first rehearsal is the sampler platter. Spend a little time on this, spend a little time on that, spend a little time on this. Don't worry about notes. Don't get caught in the weeds. Don't, hey, basses, I heard you, a little trouble with the bridge of the song. Don't even sweat it. And then move on so that first whole arcing rehearsal is just a feel-good session. There's plenty of time in the future to, slap wrists and remind people that they need to work on their music and fix tuning and do all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But first of all, you want to give everybody that big warm hug, emotionally, experientially as they come in and remind them, hey, this is a place I love. This is a place where I belong. And this is something I'm really going to love doing for the next several months.
Yeah, yeah. And I missed you, and it's nice to see you and see your
Yes.
friends and connect with you. Always connect with these folk and feel like you belong again. Sometimes we've spent so much time behind our computers and our things that we forget how we can get to connect with people. And yeah, it's such a great connection.
Absolutely, 100%, 100%. And any other ideas you guys have, obviously post them in this chat here, and we will
Yeah.
keep this conversation going. I see Hannah has a question.
Yep.
She says, if there's
Yeah.
time later, I'd love to hear your advice for getting more into doing festivals and other ways to be more a part of the acapella community. I love this question, Hannah, because I could tell you, even in the days when people were super engaged in the Facebook groups and in other parts of the forum, it was like there were two different kinds of people and they would get two different kinds of responses. There were the people who would just show up and say, "Hey, I want to go on tour. Who can find gigs for me?" Or like, "How can I get this?" Whatever. And people would be polite, but there were the other people, the people who were there all of the time, the people who were connected, the people that everybody knew, that they felt like family, and everyone would bend over backwards for these people. Oh, heavens, you're going to be on tour in Minneapolis? Like, I would love to host you in my house. Like, I don't know that I can put together a gig for you, but please, when you're there, I want to see you, because these are real bonds and real sense of connection. So the first thing I'll say, Hannah, is I think your job to become more connected with the acapella community is to become more connected with the people in it. Now, this isn't happening online as much. That's what I want this school community to be. But as much as you can, when there's an acapella group that's in your area that's performing, go see them. And they're probably going to be coming out into the lobby after the concert, or whatever. Go talk to them. Introduce yourself. Ask them like, "Hey, is there anything I can do to help your group? What's going on next for you? How long are you going to be in the area?" All that kind of stuff. I mean, there's obviously, if you don't make it creepy, but connect and communicate with these people and let them know like, "Hey, I'm a fan and we're all in this together and I want to help be a part of this." And then also when you're at those concerts, you're going to meet other people who are going to those concerts a lot. The local harmony sweepstakes festivals and the ICCA and ICHSA competitions. Or if there's a group like Straight Enough Chaser or Home Free that have like serious fans, like the Home Fries and the Chasers, the people will go to those concerts in the area over and over and over again. You'll get to know them and you'll be able to build a sense of community around them. The first place I'd start is there, because then you have people and connections with people, and you can start making things happen around that. Um, Same thing online. Be in a variety of groups, and rather than just listening and waiting, offer advice, offer suggestions, offer help anytime anybody's asking questions about anything that you could even offer, or do a little research and look it up and, "Ooh, I found this online, maybe this will be helpful." People will begin to get to know you, get to know your name, and so you're more than just, "Oh, I've heard of this person," or, "I think that person posted something," or, "They're part of this group," and they're like, "Oh, I know her. She's awesome. She helped me find this. She connected with this, and I met her at this thing, whatever." And then you start to have that beautiful sense of community that I'm so excited to bring back into what acapella is now. And the acapella world, I will say, 15, 20 years ago, before Pitch Perfect and Sing Off and Glee and Pentatonics and everything just blew up, a lot of people knew each other because it really was a smaller community, particularly in the professional world. And it is a tremendous blessing that acapella is so huge right now that it's a household name, and that Pentatonics fill stadiums, and that there are so many college acapella groups out there that you can't even count them. And people all around the world are singing. Almost any country you go to, you're going to find contemporary acapella now. But it's also massively decentralized and people don't know each other, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So um, that might have all been one sentence, but hopefully there were enough pieces of it in sentence fragments that you can glean together. And then from there, I think your questions will start to become more specific about how you can make certain things happen, be they events or whatnot. And when you're talking about festivals, Hannah, what do you mean get more into doing festivals? Are you talking about going as a participant, or are you like talking about being hired to be a clinician or something in them? Because those are, of course, a little bit
So
different.
for instance, my a cappella group where we've got 16 singers and we'd want to get more gigs or get hired to do more performances, what, if we went to talked about that avenue, what would that look like? What would you recommend?
Well, the first thing I would recommend is for you to start your own festival. I'm not saying it has to be like a giant 2-day educational whatever, But if you created an invitational and you guys did a concert and you invited groups from all over to come and you just said like, hey, listen, we want you to come here. You know, if you're close enough and you drive back to your houses, whatever, totally fine. But for the groups that came further afield, we'll put you up in our homes, we'll cook you nice breakfasts, you know, whatever it is. And you give them an opportunity to perform and you invite 8 other groups. Guess what? You're going to find yourself with 8 invitations to go to those places. I wouldn't start with 8. Eight's too many, but start. It's the same thing, Hannah. It's the same question. Rather than start with like, well, what can you do for me? Start with like, how can I do nice things for you? That
Mm-hmm.
whole mindset transforms everything. And then everybody wants to invite you guys, like, oh, there's this great invitational concert. We want to be a part of this whole thing. We want to, you know, build those kind of connections. And then it'll also hopefully inspire different groups that are further afield to put on their own concerts and invite more people. And then what do we have? More a cappella concerts that more people in the public can go hear and see and be a part of. We have more connections, human connections happening between all of the different groups. And frankly, in a lot of cases, it's not about the money. You know, hopefully, if these things build and grow, there is definitely money that can be made there. But it doesn't start that way. And particularly now with people staying home a lot, um, it's it's important that we create really high quality and fun events for people to go to in person because so many people are staying home. I mean, they'll spend $600 on a Taylor Swift or a Beyonce ticket, but going out like, oh, it's a Tuesday night. Like it'd be fun to just like go to a cafe and hear some jazz or whatever. That's not happening, at least in America, very much
Yeah,
anymore.
not at all.
So creating these kind of events and it's also fun if you can make it more than just like, oh, we're all going to get up and sing in order, but you can make it some kind of a themed event. This is where it can be really special. If it's a Motown night and everybody's going to get up and sing different songs that are Motown, then all of a sudden you've got this really fun Motown review and you put together a poster like the old Motown reviews. Awesome. Or my son, back when he was in Pacific Blood Choir, there was an organization in the Bay Area. I don't even know if they still exist, but they would do an album. They'd take a classic album like Paul Simon's Graceland, and they would
Oh,
get all
sure.
these different groups to each do one track, and then the concert is the album. So it's like if you like Paul Simon's Graceland, come hear a reimagining of it by a whole bunch of
Oh,
different
that's like
groups. Isn't that fun? So then you could literally say
that's
like, hey,
fun. That's
we're
super
gonna
fun.
do Dark Side of the Moon. We're gonna do pick an album you totally love, Steely Dan, whatever, something you think people love, but Thriller, and then you invite all these different groups and like, hey, you guys, you'd be perfect. You're kind of jazzy. Would you do Human Nature? And you can do it any way you want, whatever, and you're gonna be in the concert in the same order as we're gonna do it, do the whole thing. And then media likes picking up on that. Like, hey, if you like Michael Jackson's Thriller album, wouldn't it be cool to hear it a cappella? Wouldn't it be great to hear it sung by a whole bunch of different groups? And the
Yeah.
fun thing is, pick different kinds of groups. Get a Balkan women's choir to sing a song. Get a children's choir. Get a gospel group. So it's not pop a cappella, boom, 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 but it's all different kinds. And a barbershop chorus or a barbershop ensemble to sing a song.
Sure.
And I mean, when I saw that Graceland concert that he was a part of, I think his choir did Homeless, you know, which had Lady Smith Black Mambazo in it. But it was so fun. And one of the greatest
Wow,
things
of
about it
course.
is it's like it's like if you know we're in the TikTok generation where people are constantly scrolling. Well, if you don't like a song or performance, guess what? It's going to be over in 90 seconds from now, and then somebody else will be up and performing or whatever. So ideas
Yeah.
like this make it more than just like everybody's getting up on stage, but it turns it into a themed concert. And I'll leave you with one last idea on these themed concerts. Nobody's going to hear string quartets. I mean, I'm exaggerating when I say this, right? But
Mm.
in the San Francisco Bay Area and California and whatever, there is this wonderfully smart organization that's putting on string quartet concerts. And they'll say it's the Beatles or it's Taylor Swift or whatever, but it's a string quartet. But they get a chapel and they fill it with like 1,000 candles. And
Oh, wow.
it's a
Yeah,
candlelight
we have those in
performance.
Ottawa.
Exactly. You
Oh,
know, it's
yeah, it's
very smart
gorgeous.
the same way that postmodern jukebox was so smart by like, hey, take modern songs but
Sold
re-envision
out.
them sold out. Get smart like this. It's not enough to just be like, oh, we're going to stand up there and sing. create a theme, create an adventure, create an ambiance, create an experience, and people will
Mm-hmm.
come and you will make money. You will make money
100%. And build a following.
and build a following. Yeah, great. I love these questions. This
That's
is fun.
amazing. Wow.
Yeah. All right.
Wow.
Who's
These
next up
exposed
on
are.
the
Look at that.
who's next up on the hit parade on the questions here, Denny? I've fallen
Well,
behind.
Hannah was also saying, she's been a clinician.
Before, right? I see that. Yeah. Um, I think the key with the different festivals, Hannah, is um, to go and get to know people and introduce yourself to them afterwards and build a relationship and connect. And then eventually they'll ask about what you do, and then you show them what you do, and then whatever. And then they like you and they're impressed with your work, and then they invite you. If you just send them an email and say, like, hey, I'd love to come to your festival and be considered as a clinician, it's just not going to be as impactful as you're a human, you're a face, you're a personality, you have an actual relationship with these people. Um, that's how it's done. And believe me, I don't know that anybody, might be a handful of people around the world that go to as many different festivals as I do, literally year round, all around the world. And so much of it is built on people's respect for your work, but also just relationships. Oh, like they like you, they want to spend time with you. It'd be great to invite you to be a part of this thing. It's like that.
Yeah, great tips. Great tips.
Great.
We
So I
have
see David said, so
we have
what's going
David
on
asking.
with Casa? I'll be honest with you, David. I don't know because I'm so busy doing all this other stuff. I was talking to my good friend Rob Dietz, who I do the Counterpoint podcast with, and he was saying, like, are you going on the road again? I'm like, yeah, I leave in a couple of days for China, and then I'm going to Korea, and then blah, blah, blah. And he said, like, you're like a traveling salesman. I said, I like to think of myself a little more like Johnny Appleseed. Um, and the analogy that I use is that I help get things going. I help get festivals going. I help get groups going, start shows, whatever, and then move on. And in the case of Casa, I started the Contemporary Acapella Recording Awards in my dorm room. It's still going. It doesn't need me. I'll help with the judging sometimes, whatever. Um, but a lot of what Casa does is just constantly moving forward. So they've got 3 events a year. So Jam in North Carolina, they've got the Los Angeles Acapella Festival, and they've got Boston Sings. Boston Sings around April, the So Jam in the fall, and then in late January, early February is when the Los Angeles event ends up happening. So those things just keep happening all the time. And by the way, Hannah, that Casa is actually an organization that, unlike some of the other festivals, like the Aarhus Festival in the AAVF in Denmark that happens every other year, that flies people in and pays them whatever, the Casa festivals are pretty much all volunteer. So when they ask for, like, who wants to be a part of this festival and whatnot, you get tickets in advance and some food and things like that, but it's not like they're flying you there and paying for your hotel room. But if you've got a good topic or two, or throw a few different ideas out at them, then that's actually a good way to get your foot in the door and build up your resume with more of those kind of festivals. But other stuff with Casa, I don't entirely know, David, and I really need to do a better job of staying on top of what's going on there. In fact, years ago, they asked me if I would be on the advisory board, and I said, like, I'd love to, and I'm always here to advise, but, like, I can't even guarantee I'll make board meetings. I was the first contemporary a cappella, lead for California, ACDA, California ACDA. Rob Dietz is doing it now nationally, which is great.
Right.
But I literally was at the first meeting, and I could not make any of the other meetings. I couldn't even make the final meeting that I was supposed to. I was like, that's how much I travel. So I have lots of information about lots of things, and I have not enough information about certain really clear
You
things.
know
So
a lot of things about.
we'll
No,
find
sorry,
we'll,
that doesn't work.
we'll find out and get you a good answer on that. But the beautiful people there are still keeping the ball moving forward, which is very much appreciated.
Yeah, your schedule, hey, we're looking at your
Awesome.
schedule off your deeksharon.com website there. We had a little preview there, but you're at the Master Summit in Fujian, China, August 18, 21.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
like in 6 days. You got all your paperwork, everything's good.
I got my visa. Believe me, it's my second visa that I had to get for China, and you got to stand in that line for hours. It's a lot, but I'm excited for that.
Oof.
Be in Beijing and then in Changsha, and then there's a big festival that happens in Pingtong, which is the closest island, the closest Chinese landmass to Taiwan, and lots of groups that I know from all around Asia will be there, which is a lot of fun. I've been very involved since the beginning of Vocal Asia and have worked with many Asian groups. So that's going to be a little like one of those family reunions, like backstage at a big barbershop event or whatever. So see a lot of
Ah,
friends,
it's
and
gonna be such
I'll
an amazing trip,
I'll
I can
capture as
imagine.
much footage as I possibly can.
We are
It'll be
going
really
to hold
nice.
you to that, keeping that pocket thing filming 24/7.
I will.
And
Denis is my Jiminy Cricket. He's on my shoulder all the time. He's my conscience,
you're doing
reminding me
amazing. I
to
mean, I'm just so impressed at the quality of the footage that comes out. It's like you're a pro videographer.
stay on top of it.
And then
No,
you're
it's just
moving
that the
across in Ontario in October too. You're coming up.
yeah,
You're gonna come and say hello in Ontario,
I
Ariario.
am. In fact, the whole month of October, pretty much, I'm going to be doing Pitch Perfect sing-alongs in like 17 different performing arts centers in Ontario. So that's super exciting, super fun. And then we'll see, how that goes. But I might end up starting to do that across the U.S. as well. Um, they want to see the numbers. Let's be honest. That's how that's how agencies work nowadays. They're very attuned to who's going to show up or whatever. So the hugest of thanks to Pat Silver and to the Sing Toronto organization and to Canada as a country for being the ones who are willing to put me back on the road. And I will say, ever since I missed the first month of singing, the first month of fourth grade singing in the San Francisco Boys Chorus, doing a tour of Alaska, 6 different cities and all these
Yeah.
performances. It was super fun. For me, the fall is road trip weather, but since I left the House Jacks about a dozen years ago because I was too busy with the movies and television and stuff, um, I've gone lots of places, but it hasn't been the same as like a performance road trip. So I'm excited about this.
Oh, I bet.
It's gonna feel like I'm getting back to my roots.
No kidding. I'm super excited for you, man.
Should be fun. Awesome. Any other questions, beautiful people? You've had such great questions.
Yeah, we've had
I want to
some.
make sure I didn't
Yeah,
miss
no. So yeah,
anything.
we did.
Scrolling back. And
We
here's the
had.
other thing. You can ask questions anytime. You can post them in the school. And
Mhm.
then I'll be doing one of these again before long. And we'll have more conversations. And David, I want to know more about. Did you do
Yeah.
a one day choir? How did it go? What did you learn? And make this a conversation. Same thing with Hannah. How's it going right now? Like connecting with people in your area, reaching out to CASA and festivals and getting to know people and starting to be a known clinician in all the circles, et cetera, et cetera. So we can make things happen.
Yeah, yeah. Amanda said that she got some inspiring ideas. Hannah, obviously you could connect with the Barbershop Harmony Society and Sweet Adelines International. They have conventions and
Yes,
events
yes.
happening throughout the seasons, and so I'm sure that they would always love to have an experienced a clinician to participate in their events. They're always looking for good folks to
Yep,
participate.
yeah. Truth.
Yeah. And then you
Awesome.
had we're talking about obviously score analysis. If you're an arranger, if you're an educator, doing some arranging, and you wanted to share some scores that you've done, and have some analysis and some assistance with by Deek, obviously send those in.
Yep.
We'd love to make sure that
All of it.
you
Any
guys can show.
aspect
Yeah.
of making acapella happen. The bottom line is I've been a performer since I was 7, 5, I don't know. So being on stage, using mics, all the things that involve your voice and being up there, been a director, an arranger, been a producer behind the scenes, uh,
Yeah.
put together events, all of that kind of stuff. So whatever angle you're coming at all of this with, ask those questions. And I'll be honest, if I don't have answers, I will not try to just make something up.
Okay.
But even if we don't have answers, we will find answers. That's what we do as a community. We're here to help each other.
Do you have you named very distinct roles with very specific sets of skills to be able to do them well. Do you have a top two favorite, or do you have like in all of those roles that you have when you're talking about arranging and producing and all of those? Are there any favorites
My
that come
favorite,
to mind?
yeah, my favorite thing is the variety. People ask me like, what's, do you like recording albums? Do you like touring? Do you like
Mm,
directing? Do you like coaching? I most of all love the fact that it's always different. And like I very much enjoyed making albums with Straight No Chaser and doing the Pitch Perfect, all
sure.
that. But some people like Ed Boyer, who is a good friend and I have the deepest respect for, like people who record stuff all day, they're like in front of a screen and in a cave all the time. I can't do that. No, no, no,
Mm,
no, 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 no.
mm,
I love working with people and I love making the music or whatever. But after I do an album, no more albums for a while. We need a break.
right.
It's like that, or the
That
decompile
makes
track can do,
sense.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So
Variety. You want the whole buffet.
I want a smorgasbord of little Aka things. That's my favorite part.
Aka buffet.
Yeah.
Anna says, I'd also love advice for getting into more professional arranging. Is there, if there's not time today, I'll come
Yes.
back to the next one.
Yes. Okay, so my advice for that, Hannah, is to watch the video that I did with the student from Berklee College of Music that's up. And I did one more with a young graduate named Tom, who's British. Between the two of them, there are lots of ideas in there. And I say it only because both of them are half an hour long plus conversations about this specific topic. And then once you've digested that, then come back and say like, okay, this is all great. Now, how do I do, X, Y, Z and build on top of it? So that's not me kicking it down the road, but rather wanting to be able to give you a long answer with lots of details. That's what those conversations really were all about. So we'll get you dialed in, Hannah. We will get you arranging professionally, no question.
It's right here, by the way, when you go to the classroom, if you go to the one-on-one with Deke, the interview with Annabelle is here, and it's posted and ready to go, and so you'll have the interview right there.
And the one with Tom will be up soon.
Yes.
Awesome. Beautiful. Everybody, thank you for being a part of this first ever live chat, and I so look forward to many more to come.
Deke, I think that you have been so generous with your time. Thank you very much for your advice and all of the skills. I can't wait to see what everybody posts on the community and what they share about their performances and what they learn. And I can't wait to see the first group that forms out of looking for a group straight out of the community. That's going to be a really fun milestone for us, and I can't wait to see you working with them and all of those things. And if we don't have one of these lives before you go, safe travels to China. You're leaving in 6 days, and so we're sending you all as much good vibes, and take care of yourself.
Thank you.
And everybody else, have a little bit of fun, and have a little listen to Maliboom. That's one of the sunbeds that's available. Ready? And that's going to be our fade out. And I think that there's some drums coming. Just everybody gets the dance. There we go.